Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Halloween horror movie update. So today, got a few new additions to the Vampire Collection. Yeah, got a couple of Dracula-related ones and a couple of non-Dracula. Yeah, believe it or not, there are other vampires out there other than Dracula. I know I've been doing a lot of Dracula stuff, but, he is the king of the vampires after all, and gotta give you guys some credit. Anyway, vampire movies on, well, there's three DV Blu-rays and one Blue VD today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. All right, so first up, this one is a reacquisition, actually. I picked up the sequel a little while ago and realized I no longer had the original. I guess I had sold it a while back because I wasn't planning to watch it again anytime soon. Well, I kind of want to see it again before I watch the second one, so I picked up 30 Days of Night, which I think I reviewed many Halloweens ago. But, I thought this one was okay. I still have yet to read the original comic books that it's based on. I have read the Dead Space comic book, of course, which features artwork by Ben Templesmith, who's the same guy who did the artwork for the comic that this is based on. In fact, I think he won some awards for that. So I definitely got to check out the comics one of these days. I'm pretty sure there's like a big collected edition out of all of them. And then next up, this one is kind of special. It's based on the ever-popular soap opera. The soap opera ran for 5 years and a total of 1,225 episodes, and is notable in the history of home video in that it's the only soap opera that has all existing episodes of its entire run available on home video on VHS and DVD, several releases over. I'm, of course, talking about Dark Shadows, and more specifically, I'm talking about the 1970 movie adaptation House of Dark Shadows. Yeah, this is a really good movie. Like, even if you're not familiar with the TV series, that's okay. This is made for fans and non-fans alike and is perfectly accessible by both. If you're a fan of the show, you'll enjoy the condensation of the familiar storylines and also seeing a much bloodier rendition of those storylines. And, and also I think some very different endings to those storylines beyond, because of course in the TV series, a lot of the main characters had to continue to live throughout additional stories, but this being a standalone movie, they could kill off whoever they wanted. So, so it's a lot of fun seeing all these beloved characters getting brutally killed. But I always really enjoyed this movie. I used to have it on VHS many moons ago, and I think it's a wonderful introduction to classic Dark Shadows, and also just a great vampire movie on its own. I mean, it really does pay homage to a lot of the classic vampire tropes and whatnot, and just sort of gothic horror tropes in general. And it's great stuff. I love it. So the reason I grabbed it now is I just found out that this and the sequel, Night of Dark Shadows, are actually both out of print. So if you want to get these Blu-rays, grab them soon. It looks like the second one is already fetching collector's prices. I am so grateful because a viewer actually sent me the second one a while back in a package. So thank you very much, viewer. I apologize, I'm blanking on who it was. I sometimes forget who sent me what, but I'm sure whoever you are, you're out there and you'll remind me in the comments, so thank you. So basically I just need to get this one to complete the duology of the two of them, and fortunately I guess this one has a slightly higher print run or something. This one still seems to be available fairly inexpensively, so I was able to snag it. So anyway, great stuff. Love that movie. Going to enjoy rewatching it again after so long. And then I've been talking recently about really wanting to start collecting the Hammer films because there's so many of them, and they're such a pain in the ass to collect here because there's still a lot that aren't available on Blu-ray yet. Some are only available on out-of-print DVDs. We're starting to see a trickling of new releases. I know Warner Archive has a couple coming out sometime this year. And hopefully if those do well, they'll offer some more if they're able to. In the meantime, with this month's Amazon gift certificate, I picked up Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. So this, I believe, was the second... No, this is the third. This is the third Hammer Dracula film. But, yeah, one of the reasons I'm keen to get all of them is because the Dracula, Frankenstein, and Mummy films all have a continuity to them. They're actually a continuing story of a sort, and they all refer back to previous installments and so forth. So I really want to get all of them before I sit down and start watching them. I've seen a couple of them over the years, but I've seen nowhere near all of them, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So at some point, you know, whenever I do manage to get a solid run of them in DVD and or Blu-ray, then we'll do like a Hammer Halloween, essentially. Do like an all Hammer Halloween one year, because there are more than enough films to fill up an entire Halloween. And I think that'd be a lot of fun. I mention it anytime Hammer comes up, because I know a lot of you have been asking me when I'm going to do the Hammer films. Because, I mean, if I'm doing all the others of Dracula and Frankenstein and the Mummy and such, when am I going to do the Hammer ones? They're not insignificant. As I totally agree. They're very not insignificant. They're just freaking hard to get here in North America. All right, and last but most certainly not least, speaking of Hammer's, darling for Dracula, we have In Search of Dracula, narrated by the man himself, Christopher Lee. So this is a documentary, basically all about the history of Dracula, and basically a feature-length one. It's like 82 minutes. It's from 1975. And, so pretty cool stuff. I'm really looking forward to watching this, just to kind of dive into the history of the character and the legends and some of the real-life history that may or may not have inspired it. But, just to watch a Dracula documentary narrated by Christopher Lee, I mean, how much of a treat is that going to be, right? So, yeah, so very cool stuff. Looking forward to that. And that is it. So, yeah, just a small update this time. Just a few additions, but not insignificant ones. And, so I'll see you in the next one, whatever that may be. So until then, thanks very much for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors, and sayonara. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Halloween horror movie update. Well, today I picked up a few new additions to the Vampire collection. Oddly enough, I don't think any of them are Dracula movies. They're other vampires. Well, actually, one of them's kind of related to Dracula. Actually, it's very related to Dracula. Never mind, I'm just going to redo that intro. Oh, no. There is a Dracula movie here. And then there's a documentary about Dracula. That would have been false advertising. None of it has anything to do with Dracula, except for this Dracula movie and this Dracula documentary, but otherwise no Dracula.